Brett Pontecorvo here at mainstagetoableton.com, and today we're going to talk about how you can set up a really simple patch list for volunteers. I think this is particularly useful if you're working in a church and you're just trying to move people to start feeling comfortable using this software. So this is in no means like a comprehensive, really powerful patch list, but it's a great way to get people feeling comfortable with the idea of using this type of technology to enhance worship. So let's take a look at that. But before we jump in, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel, because every single Tuesday and Saturday I'm going to be releasing valuable content, and I don't want you to miss out on the answers to any of the questions that you might have. So go ahead, take a second, like and subscribe, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So right now, I'm inside Ableton Live, and I've done nothing. I'm going to walk you through every single thing right now, step by step. Now, there are a couple things that are constantly used, especially in a church service. So we're going to make a patch list that is comprised of only 3 sounds. We're going to do a piano sound, we're going to do an E-piano sound, and we're going to do a pads sound. So let's go ahead and see where those things live. First of all, we don't need these audio tracks right now, so we are going to delete them. But we are going to add one more MIDI track, and we can do that by right mouse clicking and choosing Insert MIDI Track. Now we're going to go ahead and rename these just for clarity, and you can rename quickly by hitting Command R. We're going to do piano, we're going to do pad, we're going to do E-piano. Now you can make this list more extensive. And if you're hoping for a more intensive version of this setup, I've got some other videos that I will link to in the description below that will help you kind of find those things on my website. So, for my piano sound, I'm going to use the Slow Burn piano, which is part of the Pro Piano FX collection. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. Here's my piano sound. And for my pad sound, I'm actually going to use a pad sound from Ableton's Singularities called Gracious Flowers. Gracious Fields. Called Gracious Fields. And this is a free pack that you can actually download if you have Live 10 Lite or up. So it's available to everybody, and it's actually pretty good sounding. I'm a major fan of it. I think it works really well, especially if you're just starting out. And then for E-piano, I'm going to use the Ableton Live pack from their electric keyboard. Here it is. Sounds. Suitcase piano. Now this sound's only available for Live Suite, but if you check out my full blog post, there is a link to a free E-piano sound that actually works quite nicely. Great. So next thing that we need to do is make it so that all of these sounds are receiving information from your keyboard. So really quickly, if you select across the top and change monitor to in, now anytime I play a note, it's going to go to all 3. Which will be helpful here in just a second. Now my pad sound actually already has some macros, so we are going to make use of that in a second, but for our purposes, and especially for your volunteers who've never done this before, we're not going to go crazy. So we're going to leave your piano sounds and your pad sounds as is. They're going to stand alone, they don't need help, and we don't want to confuse anyone. We want to keep it simple. In my experience, people really grow when you give it to them in small steps. So that's where we're at right now. So now let's talk about the mapping situation. Now, I like to use the Novation launch control, which looks like this. Now, you can use any controller that you have. However, the benefit of using this controller is that there's a lot of stuff happening here, so you can actually keep it the same. So you're going to see here in a second, but we're going to map this volume to piano, this volume to pad, and this volume to E-piano. And then we'll do this row eventually for all of our filter sounds. Now right now we only have one filter, so we'll just be mapping one knob. But this kind of gives you the ability to grow. So over time, when your sets do become more complex, you have space to go. And actually, I'm able to run all of my keyboard sounds as well as my tracks just using this controller. So it's really powerful. I highly recommend it. But for now, let's go ahead and see how we can map this. So we'll enter user mode on our launch control or whatever user mode you have on your device. And we're going to go ahead and hit Command M, or you can click up here on the MIDI tab. And we're going to go ahead and map our volumes. So I'm mapping my first fader to piano, my second fader to pad, and my third fader to electric piano. So now when I exit out, I can have just piano, and as I raise the volume on my second fader, I've got a pad sound, and if I want to switch to E piano, and I can do all of that using just 3 faders. So it's really easy to say to somebody, hey, check it out. This is how you get piano volume. This is how you get pad volume. This is how you get E-piano volume. And you can really run with that. You can actually do more than you would think. Now we're going to do one final mapping, which is we're going to map a knob, any knob on your controller, to the filter cutoff of the Gracious Fields pad. So we'll enter MIDI mapping mode. We'll click on this and we'll go ahead and move that knob. Now, when I am playing, I have my volume control, so that's going to give us one level of dynamic. But now, as I move this filter cutoff, I can go from something that's a really soft and quiet pad and I can really start to swell into something that's huge. If I were to end a section and I needed it to come back down, just using that filter frequency, I'm already back down. And there you have it. That is how you set up a really simple patch list in Ableton Live just for your volunteers to get people started. This is the very, very basic, most simplest version of it, but I think it's going to be really helpful, especially if you're just diving in. Now, if you want to stay up to date with everything so you don't miss the answers to any of your questions and you are always feeling equipped and ready to go, head over to my website at mainstagetoableton.com/go and sign up for my mailing list. And when you do, I'm going to send you a free copy of the Fast Track Patch List Guide, and that's going to give you a really in-depth version of how you can make patch lists. And there's some videos that can help support that as well. So I really want to make sure you're plugged in so you have all of the information you need, and I really look forward to seeing you there.